Just 8 working days after June 24, 1961, when the United States Air Force selected Sperry Rand Corporation as systems manager, a World War II C-4 troop ship was removed from the Hudson River Reserve Fleet and started on its way to becoming, in an extremely short time, the most instrumented tracking ship ever conceived. This first ship, the General R.E. Callan, and a sister ship, the General Taylor from the Beaumont, Texas Reserve Fleet, were destined to become Aris 1 and 2, the first 2 advanced range instrumentation ships, extending instrumentation coverage of the Atlantic missile range to over 9,000 miles. On July 28, 1961, the Taylor joined the Callan at Bethlehem Steel Shipyard, one member of the team of ship conversion and instrumentation experts, which under the direction of the Aris Systems Management Group will bring these ships to life once more. Other members of the team are Gibbs & Cox, ITT Federal Laboratories, and the Sperry Gyroscope Company, Ford Instrument Company, and UNIVAC divisions of Sperry Rand. In this first report, which covers the period from July 1961 through March 1962, the rapid change in the appearance of the ships will be evident. Here, the ships are shown immediately after arrival at the shipyard. Soon, work began on rip-out and reconstruction. The first major tasks were to inspect the ships thoroughly, inside and out, and inventory all equipment. To remove all paint and rust by sandblasting. And to begin removal of unwanted structures to make room for such items as new deck houses and barbettes for the radars. On August 29, 1961, an inclination test was performed to provide data for precisely locating heavy equipment such as radars and generators. List was measured by the swing of an oil-damp pendulum as a 33-ton cart was moved across the ship. By September 1961, all unnecessary superstructure had been removed from the Callan, and rip-out and reconstruction work below deck reached peak rates. An important step was enlargement of the number 5 hold to permit installation of equipment. On November 29, 1961, General Sands, Vice Commander of the Air Force Missile Test Center, visited the shipyard and inspected areas of reconstruction and modification. As work continued on the ships during the months of January, February, and March 1962, simultaneous work on electronic equipment progressed rapidly from design to construction. For example, early in March, assembly of the C-band radar reflector was started at the Sperry Antenna Test Site in Manorville, Long Island, here being inspected by representatives of the Air Force and Pan American. A 62-foot inflatable dome protected men and equipment as assembly of the C-band reflector, composed of a highly rigid tubular structure and 30 fiberglass-covered aluminum faceplates, progressed. Using a 17-foot swinging template, contour checks were first made on the pads supporting the faceplates. Then the contour of the panels themselves was checked. The precise contour achieved in this design is of vital importance, since the C-band radar will be the system tracking element with the LX-band radar slaved to it. In addition to contour checks, load tests under 47-knot wind conditions and vibration tests for conditions up to sea state 4 were also performed before the antenna was transferred to a motorized test table for automatic pattern measurements. Upon completion of these tests, the fully assembled and aligned antenna will be delivered to the shipyard by truck and barge. the Sperry Gyroscope Company plant in Great Neck, Long Island, work on other units of the radar and central data conversion equipment progressed concurrently with the reflectors. 10 automatic test stations have been installed immediately adjacent to the assembly area to permit rapid check of 400 different sub-assemblies. This particular station performs 200 tests on 19 different assemblies. Test conditions being established automatically by color-coded templates, push buttons, and pins, permitting stage-by-stage analysis of waveforms. With checkout complete, the sub-assemblies are routed to the assembly area. At present on the assembly lines, awaiting the receipt of sub-assemblies, are power supply cabinets for the radar, electronic units for the central data converter, and radar consoles. Construction, processing, and test of other vital radar units, the high-powered tubes, are also well advanced. By March 30th, 1962, the first SAC 167 output tube for the C-band radar was ready for delivery, with a second being tested. 2 L-band tubes in the foreground are being prepared for processing and test, as is a high-power diode for the X-band transmitter. At plants of other team members and subcontractors, many other units of the instrumentation system are being worked on. For example, units of the C-band transmitter at Avco in Cincinnati, Ohio. In Nutley, New Jersey at ITT Federal Laboratories, the helical antenna for the high-power communications equipment is being tested. 3 of these 20-foot antennas with self-contained motor-driven tuning will be used on each ship. At UNIVAC, St. Paul, Minnesota, the heart of the data processing system, the 1206 computer, and auxiliary equipment such as the magnetic tape units, paper tape units, printed circuit module tester, teletypewriter adapters, and teletypewriters are being assembled and tested. Factory acceptance test of the first 1206 was completed February 1st, 1962, and test of the second is well advanced. At Sperry Gyroscope Company's Marine Division, a mock-up of the ship's navigation center has been built. As units such as this SINS binnacle complete test, they are installed in the navigation center just as they will be aboard ship. Already in the navigation center are the SINS power supply and amplifier, SINS control console, electronic units for the Mark 19 gyro compass, and at the far end, the navigation control console. Ford Instrument Company is preparing units, as shown in this drawing, for the Operations Control Center, including the master control and designate consoles and the trajectory plotter. Factory acceptance tests on the trajectory plotter were completed in February 1962. At the Stamford, Connecticut plant of American Machine and Foundry, assembly and test of the pedestals for the radar reflectors are proceeding. These, like the reflectors, will be transferred to the shipyard by truck and barge. As instrumentation equipment is completed in all parts of the country, it will be shipped to Bethlehem's Brooklyn Shipyard, where 600 men are now engaged in preparing rooms and structures for its installation aboard ship. By March 23rd, the C-band transmitter room, aft of the forward deck house, had been welded together and a protective coat of paint applied. The open end of this room will mate with the C-band radar barbette. The new navigation center had been installed above and forward of the C-band transmitter room, and the top of the center lowered into position. Most of the navigation instrumentation will be located in this navigation center. Steelwork, which extends 5 decks down to the keel of the ship for the LX band and C-band foundations, has been completed, and the massive foundations for the telemetry mount, which also extends to the keel of the ship, has been installed after removal of the top of the after deck house. Angle braces outside the deck house and steel plates between the superstructure and main decks provide additional support. Many structures required for conversion of the ships are fabricated at dockside in the yard's plate shop. The 20-ton LX band radar barbette, which will be lifted aboard ship in one piece, nears completion on March 23, 1962. The navigation center, a room within a room providing special rigidity for support of the SIN's binnacle and star tracker, is also being fabricated, as are the flues for the new stacks, designed to keep flue gases clear of the telemetry antenna just forward of it. During the coming months, the 3 barbettes will be installed and meteorological rooms fabricated. As work on instrumentation continues, wiring mock-ups now being delivered to the ship will be installed, and pulling of some 50 miles of cable will reach a peak. Additional film reports showing progress of ARIS 1 and 2 will be presented as major items of equipment are delivered, installed, and checked aboard ship.